Our next speaker is PhilipJames, who is doing his PhD on active seniors engagement on online media in their holiday purchases. And Philip is specializing in the over 55 years old age and what we called the gold age, or what is the latest terminology?
Old people.
Old
people younger than me.
Yeah. I'm approaching that age and I'm scared.
Long way to go yet, Dimitrios, long way to go yet. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm PhilipJames. I have the distinction of being a student and having a student ID and also a bus pass, which I think is really quite cool. I'm going to be talking about my research, and I'm very privileged to have this opportunity to do so. My research will be developing a psychological understanding of how active seniors engage with online media in order to make their holiday purchases. So I'm going to try and break that down a little bit and explain to you what I mean by active seniors. Every time I go towards the mic, it amplifies it, so forgive me if I'm going in and out. Can everybody hear properly? Yeah. A bit about what online media is, a bit about what engagement is, and then a final bit about what tourism is, which I think most of you will probably know. And then I'm going to look at the aim of my research, a bit of a conceptual framework, a little bit on methodology, and then my expected contribution to knowledge. So, active seniors, just to put us in the mood. It's a key traveller tribe. This by a company called Amadeus, who's a technology company. They looked at the market and said, who are going to be the most important people for tourism by 2020? Active seniors are defined as basically baby boomers born between 1945 and 1970. They're the active senior citizens. They're retired, they're healthy, they're wealthy. They own 80% of UK wealth, so we're pretty well wedged up. And it's the fastest growing demographic in the world. It used to be 1 in 5 in 1950, and today it's nearly 2 in 5. It's almost doubled. 1 in 3 people that you'll meet will be over 50. Looking at internet usage, there's some quite striking points that come across. The first is that under 54s, not surprisingly, 97% of them use the internet versus 64% of over 55s. Now, if you look at over 70s, it drops off markedly. But basically, 55 to 70, it's still very close to 90%. If you look at social media, Facebook, Twitter, those kinds of things, 77% of under 54s are using social media. That drops down to under 40% of over 55s. But if you look at booking holidays, 68% of under 54s booked their last holiday over the internet, compared with 65%, a non-statistically significant difference for over 55s. What do I mean by social media? Twitter, Facebook, TripAdvisor, those kinds of things. Moving on to talk about engagement, Charlene Lee suggested that it's a bit like a triangle in terms of the amount of engagement that people invest in online media. So you can see there over on the right, you're right, the more active you are, the higher up the pyramid. So you'll start off watching, perhaps checking your son's Facebook, see what he's up to the most involved, the most engaged, of curating a blog, for example, and that is increasing engagement. It's a psychological state. People engage through certain behaviors like word of mouth, blogging, liking on Facebook, that sort of thing. But it's a psychological state that motivates them to do that. I call it, the way I'm going to be looking at it is think, feel, do, which in psychological terms, because we like to talk about big words in psychology, cognitive, affective, conative, and social. So those are the four aspects of the psychological engagement that I'll be looking at. And it will be looking at the perceived added value that active seniors gain to their holiday experience by engaging with online media during their holiday journey. A quick word about tourism in trillions of dollars. Travel and tourism is about half the size of banking and finance. But it's the same size as communications industry, as education, and double world automobile sales. So it's a big, big market. But more interestingly, if we look at the direct tourism impact, that's hotels, catering, travel, all that sort of thing. If we look at then the indirect amount of money that tourism generates through printing, publishing, you can see a hell of a list there, and then the induced, those goods and services that tourism induces, that accounts for $6 trillion if you add all of those up, which is about the same size as banking, which is a huge amount. So 2 trillion if you just look at the direct turnover of direct tourism, 6 trillion if you include everything that tourism generates. So my aim is to develop a psychological model of active seniors' engagement with online media in making their holiday purchases. A quick look at a conceptual framework. The holiday journey I'm showing is 4 stages. The inspiration, when you're doing your research, looking at websites, wondering where to go. The anticipation and the booking stage. Gratification while you're on holiday, and reflection after you come back from holiday. And the psychological motivation then to do those things. What does it feel like? What does it do? You know, what do you do? What do you feel? What do you think? What needs does it fulfill for you? And flow is a concept by, I've got to say it, Csikszentmihalyi. I've been practicing that for a long time. It's Hungarian. What a great name. Flow is when you're working on something and you get totally absorbed in it, and you ignore the passage of time. You're unaware of it. You're so totally engaged and absorbed. A bit like, say, a concert pianist who gets carried away. So in terms of engagement, the sorts of behaviors will be word of mouth, looking at things like Google, looking at air travel sites, looking at hotel sites, but also looking at social media sites, where have your friends been, looking at TripAdvisor to see what ratings, and checking on the ratings of places that you consider going, perhaps restaurants or hotels. And I'm looking then at the perceived added value that will bring of engaging in that way with online media during those 4 stages of the holiday, what added value they will bring. to the overall holiday experience. So our research questions are, what are the lived experiences of active seniors as they engage with online media? How can active seniors engagement be generalized? Is it generalizable outside of the UK, perhaps, or to people who are younger? And can their purchase behavior be predicted from their engagement behaviors? I'm going to be using a sequential multi-methods design of phenomenological. That's pretty tough to say. Phenomenological. Somebody called it the Muppet method. Phenomenon. Anyway, a survey instrument and then constructing a model. My contribution to knowledge will be it's an emerging field of inquiry, both online and engagement, helping to conceptualize engagement, which remains to be conceptualized. I mean, most people think, oh, it's a really good idea, let's measure it, but they don't know what they're measuring and they don't know why. And using a multidisciplinary, an interdisciplinary approach of marketing and psychology. And from a practitioner point of view, I'm hoping to come up with a predictive model of engagement and purchase behavior. Thank you for listening. You've been starved.
Thank you, James. Very interesting research, and to see how AIDS is going to affect how we are dealing with social media. And quite a lot of people thought in the beginning social media and technology was only for younger people, and they had no appreciation how different market segments and different age groups are involved in these things. Someone tweeted from the audience, oh my God, I'm an old person already. I don't know who that person is, but it was you, Liz. Okay, thank you. You're an active senior. Any questions for James, please? How do you feel as an active senior?
I don't know whether to be gutted or to be proud that I am actually I do use online tourism sites to organise holidays, so I could be leading the way, couldn't I?
Do you recognize yourself in there?
I didn't think I did, but now I do.
Okay, I think it's a matter of conversation later on. Any more questions, anything for James? Okay, thank you very much, James.